29. Year. Old's shocking ACT. Kills 61-year-old wife after discovering divorce she hid for 2 years. The air was thick with disbelief as news spread like wildfire through the small town of Maplewood. A grisly scene had unfolded within the walls of the Johnson home where love was thought to dwell. Now lay chaos and horror. It was a quiet neighborhood, with blooming cherry blossoms lining the streets, but something dark crept in, twisting the very essence of that peace. A husband, once filled with hopes and dreams, claiming his wife's life, all because of a hidden divorce. Who could fathom such a betrayal? His name was Chad, a boyish-looking man barely stepping into his 30s, yet something twisted simmered beneath his surface. Reports described a frantic rage, a storm brewing inside him as he confronted Janet, his 61-year-old wife, with the news of the divorce papers. He had stumbled upon documents she had hidden for 2 long years. Can you imagine the shock on his face? It was as if the sun had been snuffed out, turning his entire world into an unrecognizable shadow. Local diners buzzed with whispers, eyes popping wide with a mix of curiosity and horror at the thought of it all. How could someone just snap like that? The tension escalated that fateful night as neighbors recounted the sounds, shouting, a desperate plea that echoed through the night, followed by a bone-chilling silence. The kind of silence that claws at your skin and sends shivers down your spine. Eyewitnesses tried to piece together what they had seen that night, their voices half shaken, half cautious. Did they see reflections of fear in his eyes, or a determination that chilled their blood? They couldn't turn away from the haunting scene, both fascinated and terrified by the raw reality playing out before them. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The morning after brought more questions than answers. Investigators combed the scene, gathering evidence. Each item they found seemed to tell a story of betrayal, mistrust, and ultimate despair. Janet had left behind whispers of secrets, old photos tucked away, love letters faded with time, a life once lived together. Every piece felt like a puzzle, yet the image remained obscured, and the entire town was drawn deeper into this murky tale. With every new revelation, the line between fear and fascination blurred further, and as the sun set, casting an eerie glow over Maplewood, a chilling thought gripped everyone. Was this just the beginning? What drove Chad to that edge? What else lay buried beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect life? The darkness beckoned for answers, teasing the town's imagination with the questions that lingered long after the stories had been shared. As the first light of day broke through the shattered windows of the Johnson home, police barricades surrounded the property like a fortress. Investigators were hard at work, examining every inch of the once happy house. Curious neighbors, mouths agape, whispered behind their hands, trying to fathom the depths of such betrayal. What kind of man kills his wife over a hidden divorce? The question reverberated throughout Maplewood. Chad sat slumped in a police vehicle, his expression vacant. Was it remorse, rage, or just shock? The officers huddled nearby, phone calls and radios buzzing with updates. Chad's breathing was slow and labored, as if each inhalation required immense effort. How had it come to this? The weight of his actions pressed down on him, yet seemed unreachable, like a distant echo of regret he couldn't grasp. Meanwhile, in the heart of the town, Janet's sister, Lisa, arrived, her face drawn tight with disbelief. The moment she stepped from her car, the whispers intensified. Did you hear? Her own husband Lisa choked on her words, sharp with an urgency only family understands. She had to know what had happened. They had spoken just days before, laughter shared over coffee, nothing indicating impending doom. The deep fracture that had formed between Janet and Chad had been hidden even from those closest to them. How had it eluded her? As police officers escorted Chad away for questioning, townsfolk observed, eyes narrowed in judgment. Each eye seemed to beg answers. Nobody snaps like that unless there's something darker involved, a man whispered to another, both nodding in grim agreement. Back at the station, detectives probed Chad's mind, fishing for motives, even secrets. "Tell us about the divorce papers," one detective pressed. Chad rubbed his temples, agonized, as though recalling a nightmare. It was like a film playing on repeat. The argument, Janet's desperation, the sudden, gut-wrenching moment when he lost control. But there was more to uncover. As the hours ticked by, the police discovered something unusual in Janet's belongings. Something that wasn't just regretful memories, it was a journal. Sifted through the evidence, pages marked by tear stains detailed a life ensnared by love and fear, of growing dissatisfaction, and a marriage that had taken turns too dark to bear. The final entries revealed a secret long buried, far deeper than her decision to file for divorce. What had Janet been hiding? Tension built as detectives announced their shocking discovery to Lisa. As she read through the poignant words written in her sister's handwriting, her mouth fell agape. No, this can't be right. The pieces of the puzzle began to shift again, reshaping the narrative everyone thought they understood. The whispers swelled in the town. What secrets lay buried alongside that tragic act? Were there truths buried deep enough to mold Chad's actions? As night blanketed Maplewood once more, emotions ran high. Speculations spread like wildfire, swirling through the community's heart. Could Chad be the only guilty one in this twisted tale? Beneath the cherry blossoms, shadows loomed large. Just when the town thought they had the whole story, a new question arose, more chilling than the last. Who else was tangled in this web of secrets? And what were they willing to do to keep them hidden? Chad's world had collapsed faster than he could comprehend. In the police station, walls felt as if they were closing in on him, suffocating with palpable tension. The fluorescent lights flickered, buzzing in the eerie silence that hung heavy in the air. Each tick of the clock seemed to echo louder, taunting him as memories of the night before screamed in his mind. Images of rage and disbelief engulfed him like smoke filling a room. "What do you mean there's more?" He had barked at the detectives when they confronted him with the journal. Each revelation was a dagger, twisting deeper into wounds he was only beginning to understand. Painful secrets of his wife, hidden for so long, now surfaced like ghastly apparitions in the dim room. What had she been writing, almost like a farewell? Lisa scanned the room, anxiety bubbling in her stomach. The tension was thick as she held the journal close, the pages still warm with Janet's last thoughts. Every word revealed the raw turmoil of a woman trapped, but what led to the final act? She could feel the weight of judgment pressing down on her. Each whisper she caught from the gathering crowd outside only fueled her need for answers. "How could I have missed it?" she whispered, more to herself than anyone else, eyes darting to the entry pages, desperate to extract meaning from the jumbled words. Each time she tried to read, the sentences warped, blending into a haunting mass of betrayal and pain. She needed to get to the bottom of this. And then it hit her like a punch to the gut, the mention of someone else, a name that sent cascading ripples of dread through her. Who was Ben? The name felt ominous, dripping with significance that threatened to unlock a truth Lisa wasn't ready to face. The deeper she delved into Janet's words, the more elusive answers became. Intimacy turned to a shattered nightmare. Detectives shuffled out, leaving a suffocating silence in their wake, breaking Lisa's concentration. They didn't have all the information yet. "We're calling in more resources," one murmured, distrust scratching at the surface. "Let us see what else we can find." Outside, the cacophony of Maplewood blurred into the background. Residents gathered in knots, voices rising and falling with disbelief. He killed her over divorce papers? And what of this Ben? Sensing the outrage in the air, Chad's father, Henry, emerged as a figure torn between loyalty and fear. He raised Chad to be a good man, yet that man was now a murderer. As Lisa stepped out, a chill wind swept through the street, carrying the whispers along like leaves caught in a storm. "Chad's not the only one with dark secrets," she muttered under her breath, feeling the prickle of unseen eyes on her back. The pain twisted into action. She turned to face the growing crowd. "We need to find out who Ben is. What role did he play in all of this?" A murmur of agreement danced through the air, igniting resolve. Lisa had been complacent too long. No more. She would claw through the murky depths of this scandal, and she wouldn't rest until she uncovered the truth behind Janet's last moments. As she pushed through the crowd, the chilling thought lingered. What if uncovering the truth would open wounds too deep to heal? With renewed purpose, Lisa looked down at the journal clutched tight in her hands. This isn't over, she whispered to herself. Her voice quivered. Was it fear or determination? She vowed to untangle the web, even if it meant unearthing a darkness that threatened to consume everyone involved. And just as clarity began to solidify, her phone buzzed violently, breaking her focus. "You need to come home now." It was her mother's voice, tense and urgent. "There's something you don't know." Lisa's heart raced as an icy realization washed over her. What had her mother found? What other secrets were still lurking, waiting to pounce as the sun sank lower in the sky? The words hung in the air like a bad dream, morbidly echoing in Lisa's mind. She stepped back, the chill biting deeper as panic clawed at her throat. What could be so urgent, so vital that her mother needed her home now? The world outside seemed to vibrate with tension. It was almost tangible in the cold air. "Mom, what is it? Is everything okay?" She rushed to the side of her car, fumbling with the keys as her thoughts raced. Was it about Chad? Had something else happened? "Just hurry, Lisa. It's about Janet. I found something." Her mother's voice crackled through the line, edged with fear. Lisa's stomach churned violently. She started the engine, the growl breaking through the weight of uncertainty pressing down upon her. As she sped down the street, thoughts swirled in chaos. What else could her mother possibly know about Janet's life? Or was it more about Chad? The familiar streets blurred past her, each turn feeling like a twist in the plot of a dark novel. The air thickened with dread, and every heartbeat felt louder as she pulled into the driveway. She dashed to the door, her pulse racing as she entered the house. Feeling as if she were stepping into the climax of a suspense film, her mother stood in the dimly lit living room, a shadow of anxiety etched across her face. A single table lamp provided weak illumination, making the shadows dance ominously across the walls. Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that something dreadful lingered just beneath the surface, waiting. "Mom," she called, her voice wavering. "What is it? Sit down." Her mother gestured toward the worn couch, a sharp edge to her words that warned Lisa not to argue. She took a seat, hands trembling in her lap as her mother paced, deep lines of concern etched into her brow. "All those years I thought I knew everything about Janet," her mother began, haltingly. "But there's something I found, something I hid away myself. You need to understand what I'm about to tell you." "What do you mean?" Lisa felt a sinking sensation, her heart lurching. Her mother stopped, gripping the back of the couch as though it were a lifeline. Janet, she had a past, a connection to a man named Ben. It wasn't just an affair. It was something darker. "Lisa, I thought it was all behind her." The words hit hard, a brutal punch of reality. "What do you mean?" Lisa urged, barely able to breathe. "I found an old photo, a piece of evidence, something related to her mental state at the time. And Ben, I never showed you. I thought maybe it would be best forgotten." Lisa's eyes widened. "You have to show me. This is about Chad, Mom. It's about everything." As her mother hesitated, digging through a drawer, Lisa could feel panic rise again. What could this photo reveal? Her mother turned, her expression a mixture of fear and sadness as she held out the faded picture. "It's from a time when Janet was lost in a world we didn't know existed." She was trying to escape. What she revealed next hung like a shroud between them, the realization igniting fear. She dropped the photo on the table, revealing a crumpled image that spoke volumes of secrets long buried. It was of Janet, arms wrapped around another man, Ben, with a haunted look in her eyes. Janet's young smile was absent. Instead, it portrayed something more profound, a longing for freedom mixed with despair. "This changes everything," Lisa murmured, horror creeping in. Memories began to align, creating a disturbing tapestry. If Chad didn't know, if he thought. "Lisa, you need to be careful," her mother warned, voice low. "This could put you in danger too. You're dabbling in matters beyond what you can handle." But all she could think was how deeply intertwined their fates had become. Who was Ben truly? What webs might he have spun around Janet to lead her to such an end? As her mother turned to find more information, the phone buzzed on the table, a demand for attention that shattered the precarious silence. Lisa's breath caught. "Mom, answer that." But her mother froze, eyes widening, the color draining from her face as she picked up the phone and read the screen. It's a message from Chad's lawyer. The weight of the moment crashed over them both like a tidal wave, and Lisa couldn't help but feel the storm was just beginning. The question hung in the air: would unveiling Janet's past shatter everything, or would it lead them toward an unknown horror? What if unraveling the truth only tangled them further in a web darker than they could imagine? The phone trembled in her mother's grip, the screen lighting up their faces with an eerie glow. Lisa's heart raced. The breathless silence stretched like a taut string, waiting to snap. "What does it say?" she urged, leaning closer, desperation clawing at her. Her mother's voice quivered as she read. "It says there's been a development in Chad's case. He's being accused of something unspeakable." Cold fear wrapped around Lisa's throat, squeezing tight. What do you mean?" The ground beneath her felt unsteady, her mother's words twisting in her mind. "Accusations of harassment, Lisa. There are witnesses." Her mother's voice trembled, vibrating between disbelief and horror. The gravity of it sunk in, pulling Lisa into a dizzying spiral. "This can't be true." Her voice cracked, panic clawing its way to the surface. "Chad would never. He has to be innocent. What does it have to do with Janet?" Her mother dropped the phone onto the couch, her hands shaking as she searched her daughter's face, eyes wide with a mix of fear and concern. "It's all connected, Lisa. Chad and Janet, there are ties we never understood." The photo lay between them, its sordid tale now unfolding like a dark mystery. What had happened between Janet and this Ben? And why did it all echo back to Chad? One lie had her mother twisting in fear. The other sent Lisa spiraling down a rabbit hole of dread. What do we do? Lisa's mind raced through options, the way she internalized everything, analyzing every angle as if it were a puzzle she might solve. "Find Janet's journals," her mother replied, her voice steadying with determination. "If we want to untangle this mess, we need to understand her past. We need to confront it. And if we can't?" The question hung heavily between them, echoing unanswered uncertainties. Then, her mother whispered, "We protect ourselves. We keep this under wraps until we have proof. We don't tell Chad anything." A chill swept through Lisa. "But if he is innocent? If he doesn't know any of this?" "Listen," her mother interrupted, placing her hand gently on Lisa's arm. "If Chad is involved in something more dangerous than we realize, we can't risk our safety or his." As they both caught their breath, the shadows in the room seemed to tighten, the atmosphere thick with unspoken fears. Lisa could feel the walls closing in, a suffocating reminder of secrets buried too deep. "Let us get Janet's stuff, see what we can find." Lisa's resolve hardened with each word. As they prepared for the search, a sudden loud knock echoed against the front door, shattering the tense silence. Both of them froze, heartbeats drumming loudly in their chests. "Who could that be?" her mother whispered, eyes darting toward the door. The fear etched into her features was palpable, pooling in the small room like poison. "I don't know." But a part of Lisa already knew that it could only mean trouble. She turned slowly toward the door, gripping the couch for stability as the knock came again, more insistent. "Stay here," her mother instructed, voice tight with anxiety. "No, Mom. I'm going with you." She wouldn't be left in the dark, not now. Together, they edged toward the door, dread wrapping its icy fingers around them. Every creak of the floorboards seemed magnified, heightening the tension, as if each step drew them closer to an unraveling reality. Her mother reached for the doorknob, hesitating for just a moment. "Whatever happens, we don't engage unless we have to." Lisa nodded, but anxiety bubbled inside. What could be worse than the truths they had already discovered? With a quick twist and push, the door swung open. The figure on the other side loomed in the dim light, a silhouette cloaked in darkness, but Lisa could see enough a familiar face with a menacing grin. "Hey, you didn't think I'd miss this, did you?" The voice was unmistakable and echoed through the room like a haunting refrain. "Chad," Lisa gasped, shock flooding her senses. But the weight of his arrival felt less like a reunion and more like the shattering of every hope they clung to. The storm inside them erupted, threatening to consume all as new dangers loomed larger than before. What did he want? And what secrets had he brought with him? "Chad." The disbelief in Lisa's voice hung heavily in the air, thick like fog. Chad's smile faded, replaced by a serious expression that rippled across his features. "I'm here because we need to talk about Janet." As he stepped into the house, the tension in the room intensified, prickling the air like static electricity. Lisa's heart raced. "You know where she is? What happened?" Chad shook his head, but his eyes scanned the room, taking in every detail. "I don't know where she is, but I have some information. It's important." Her mother stood in front of Lisa, her protective instinct flaring like a wildfire. "Why should we trust you?" she challenged, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. "Because I'm the only one who can help," Chad replied bluntly, urgency bleeding through his tone. "If we don't work together, everything could fall apart for all of us." "What do you mean?" Lisa pressed, moving closer to the edge of her mother's protective stance. She needed answers, but fear wrapped around her heart like a vice, squeezing tighter with every word. Chad took a breath, looking torn. "I found something. A message from Janet, just before all this mess started. She mentioned dangerous people wanting to silence her." "Silence her? Why?" Her mother's voice tremored, shadows of doubt flickering in her eyes. "I don't know the details," Chad admitted, frustration and desperation mingling in his demeanor. "But I think she's in trouble. Real trouble." Lisa felt her stomach churn. "Why didn't you tell us sooner?" "I thought I could handle it myself," he snapped, the strain in his voice palpable. "But it's bigger than me. Look, I was stupid. What do you want me to say? I came because I care regardless of what people think." "People think you're a psycho," Lisa's mother shot back, defensive. "You think we can just trust you?" Chad's brow furrowed, and the tension in the room coiled tighter. "Well, you have no choice. If they're coming for Janet, they might come for you too, maybe even for me." The room froze, a thick silence wrapping its heavy arms around them. Lisa's mind raced, thoughts colliding and spiraling. If what Chad said was true, they were in much deeper than she imagined. "Why would they come after us?" Lisa whispered, the weight of panic creeping back in. "Because of what you know," he answered, his voice low. "The truth about Janet, her friends, and their secrets, it all leads back to you." Lisa felt a sudden rush of blood to her cheeks. Her mother's hand tightened on Lisa's arm, squeezing as if she could physically ward off the gathering storm. "What do you mean? What secret?" Chad hesitated, something dark flickering across his face. "I can't say here. It's not safe." "Then take us with you. Show us. We can't just stay here and hope for the best." Lisa felt a surge of courage, her determination challenging the fear that threatened to swallow her whole. Chad looked around nervously. "Okay, but you have to trust me. Once you're in, there's no turning back. You understand that, right? Let us just go," her mother urged, determination now matching Lisa's. "Before something worse happens." As they prepared to leave, another loud knock shattered the fragile calm they had just mustered. This time, it was not just an echo through the house. Footsteps followed, urgent and marauding. Chad paled. "We need to move. Now." But as they raced toward the back door, Lisa felt a chill crawl down her spine. "What if they already know we're here?" "Keep moving," Chad shouted, his voice reverberating with urgency. Lisa stepped over the threshold into the night, a storm of uncertainty raging within her. They were trapped in a web of danger, and she couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was yet to come. As the first shadow appeared outside, barreling toward them with impossible speed, Lisa's heart sank. Were they too late this time? What had they unleashed? They sprinted into the night, a cacophony of panic driving them forward. The darkness wrapped around them like a suffocating shroud, every rustle of leaves amplifying their fear. Lisa glanced back, trying to glimpse the shadow that lurked behind, but the faint glow from the house swallowed it whole. Chad led, his moves sharp and decisive. "Head to the car. We need to get out of here." His voice pierced through the thick night air. Lisa could hear the thumping of her heart in her ears, drowning out all other sounds. They reached the car, which sat like a besieged fortress against the dark horizon. Chad fished the keys from his pocket, fumbling as he tried to unlock the door, the urgency of their situation palpable in the air. "Faster," Lisa urged, her voice catching in her throat as the footsteps grew louder, closer. Each echoing step sent jolts of ice through her veins. "Got it." Chad finally unlocked the door and they all piled in, her mother sliding into the back seat beside Lisa. Panic-stricken breaths filled the air, and the smell of sweat and desperation hung thick. "Where do we go?" Lisa asked, her voice a whisper in the chaos. The words barely escaped her lips as doubt clawed at her. Were they already cornered? Any place but here. Chad grunted, twisting the ignition. The engine roared to life, and he slammed the gear into drive. Tires screeched as they tore away from the house, leaving the remnants of their old life crashing down behind them. They flew down the road, headlights slicing through the inky darkness. But the fear simmered just below the surface, an unspoken tension weaving through their conversation. What do you know about these people? Lisa's mother finally broke the silence, forcing the question that no one wanted to voice. Chad's jaw clenched, hands gripping the wheel tightly. I don't know much, just what Janet told me. She was digging into something big, something that scared her. I thought it was just her being paranoid. But now his voice trailed off, and Lisa saw the fear reflected in his eyes. Lisa's mind raced, recalling snippets of conversations she had overheard, pieces that seemed meaningless at the time. Janet speaking in hushed tones, her laughter suddenly cut short when she noticed Lisa was near. Secrets lived in the air around her, thickening like fog. What was she afraid of? Her mother asked, the granite of her voice fracturing slightly. The reality of their situation sank in deeper, sharp, and painful. She didn't say, but I know she had been looking into certain people, powerful people. Chad met their gazes in the rearview mirror, a cryptic shadow over his handsome face. If they're involved, we need to be careful. They won't hesitate to silence anyone who gets in their way. Lisa's heart sank again, an anchor pulling her deeper into despair. Did Janet stumble upon something that could endanger them all? Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket, a bright light in the darkness. Don't answer that, Chad warned, but it was too late. She pulled it out, glancing at the screen. A message flashed. You're in danger. They'll come for you next. A cold wave washed over her, terror gripping her throat. Who sent that message? How did they know? What is it? Her mother asked, fear lacing her words. It's from an unknown number, Lisa said, turning the phone towards them. They know we're involved, that we're with Chad. Chad's green eyes widened, his breath quickening. We can't stay on this road. We have to find a safe place. Lisa nodded, her mind racing. But safe from what? The thought writhed in her mind like a living thing, suffocating and consuming. Before Chad could veer away, headlights approached them from behind, moving fast. Lisa's breath hitched. Chad, they're coming. The distance closed quickly, the malevolent shape behind them now unmistakably a vehicle. Hold on, Chad yelled, speeding up. But the car was relentless, gaining traction, swallowing the distance like a shark hunting its prey. The world outside the speeding car blurred together. A desperate thought circled Lisa's mind. What if this was just the beginning? What if their lives were about to spiral into a chaos they could never escape? The headlights closed in, and panic gripped her heart. Were they really running towards safety or into the jaws of something worse? Chad's knuckles were white as he gripped the wheel, the engine roaring like a caged beast. The car swerved onto a twisting back road, the trees thrumming with their escape. Lisa felt a swell of desperation within her, every bump in the road rattling her resolve. Why won't they just leave us alone? She muttered, her voice barely a whisper. They're relentless, Chad replied, scanning the mirrors. Whatever they want, they won't stop until they have it. Moments ticked by like hours, the shadows of the trees stretching and contorting around them. Lisa glanced at her mother, who was chewing her nails down to the quick, eyes wide with fear. What if they catch us? Her mother whispered, a tremor in her voice. They won't, Chad snapped, then softened. I swear I'll protect you both. But Lisa's mind churned, raw with uncertainty. What if the protection was just a delusion, a false promise in the face of danger? The message floated back into her mind like a ghost. You're in danger. They'll come for you next. Suddenly, the headlights of the pursuing car cut through the darkness like a knife, blinding in their intensity. They're still behind us, Lisa shouted, panic rising as she felt the car begin to lose speed. Hold on, Chad called again, pushing the accelerator down hard. But before he could gather speed, the car surged forward, the engine roaring. The chase became a deadly dance, each turn better than the last. Just then, the pursuing car flicked on its siren, a wailing noise that pierced the air like a banshee-esque cry. Oh no, oh no. Lisa clutched her mother's arm, fear slamming into her gut like a fist. Chad, she cried, they might be the police. Or worse. Chad spat, his eyes darting back to the rearview mirror. If we stop, they'll catch us. Keep down. The world outside blurred into a smudged canvas of street signs and dark figures as they sped through the lengthening night. The sirens echoed, but the sound twisted her stomach like a vice different from trained law enforcement, more brutal and reckless. Where do we go? Lisa's voice cracked as she tried to fathom their escape. We need to find an exit somewhere they won't find us. Chad grunted, frustration boiling in his voice. His mind was racing. What would Janet want him to do? I know a place. Lisa broke through the haze, trying to keep her voice steady. My friend Sarah's cabin. It's hidden in the woods, far away from everything. It's a risk, Chad mused, his eyes flicking to the approaching car. But it's better than nothing. Just go? Lisa urged, adrenaline pumping through her veins as they made a hard left turn. The tires screeched against the asphalt, and she clung to the seat, hoping with every fiber of her being that they weren't driving toward disaster. The pursuing vehicle made the same turn, its headlights swaying ominously. Lisa could see their outlines through the back window, figures moving with purpose, desperate to close the gap. Suddenly, the headlights dimmed, illuminating a twisted fork in the road ahead. Chad's indecision was palpable, the tension almost choking them. Which way? He barked. Left. The cabin's up the hill. But that's right into the woods. Chad said, panic threading his voice. It's our best chance. Without another word, Chad swung the wheel left again, tires digging into gravel. The cabin was a beacon in her mind, the one last refuge she prayed would still hold safety. The branches clawed at the car like the shadows of their fears as they barreled deeper into the darkness, the sirens now far behind. Over the sound of the engine, Lisa heard something crack behind them, a branch snapping under unyielding pressure. What was that? Her mother quaked in fear. I don't know. Lisa gasped, the hopeful refuge of the cabin suspended in doubt. But we need to hurry. What if they weren't alone? The darkness held more than just trees, more than just shadows, and amidst their chaotic flight, there loomed an even greater terror, the unknown that lay ahead. As they swerved toward the cabin, something rustled violently in the bushes nearby, setting off alarms in Lisa's mind. What? If the threat wasn't what they were running from, but what was already waiting for them? Go faster, she screamed, the urgency in her voice drowned out by the engine, but cold tendrils of fear began to creep down her spine, wrapping around her heart. Then, through the dark, the cabin lights flickered. Were they truly escaping or stepping right into the trap? The cabin loomed ahead, a silhouette against the star-studded sky. Its lights flickered like a heartbeat, steady yet erratic, as if it breathed the tension surrounding them. Chad slammed the brakes, gravel flying in all directions, and they skidded to a halt outside the door. Get out, he barked, the engine still rumbling. Lisa didn't need to be told twice. The fear coursed through her veins like ice as she leaped from the car, pulling her mother with her. Is it safe? Her mother asked, scanning the woods with wide eyes full of dread. It has to be, Chad muttered, shifting around to the back of the car, grabbing the flashlight he kept in the trunk. With trembling hands, he flicked it on, light slicing through the darkness. Lisa took a deep breath, controlling the panic rising in her throat. They ducked behind a nearby tree, the old, gnarly bark digging into her palms. What if they find us? They won tea, Chad whispered, though his eyes darted around nervously. But the shadows danced menacingly. Lisa's heart pounded against her ribs as she peered into the thickets. What lay out there among the trees? Were the figures still chasing them, or was something else lying in wait? Stay here, Chad murmured, his flashlight slicing through the dark as he crept toward the cabin, the tension twisting the air. Lisa squeezed her mother's hand, raw nerves flaring. What if it's not safe? Chad is right there, we can trust him, her mother said, though her voice trembled slightly. Moments stretched out, filled with the quiet rustling of leaves that seemed to echo Lisa's deepening anxiety. Suddenly, a sharp crack broke the stillness. Lisa's breath caught in her throat. Did you hear that? Her mother nodded, eyes wide. What was it? Chad's flashlight swung wildly. Stay back. His voice was strained, a mix of command and fear. He advanced further, illuminating the porch steps. Then, a low growl echoed from the darkness behind them. Oh God, Lisa gasped, her heart racing like a hammer hitting steel. The growl transformed into disjointed howls, building with intensity, a bone-chilling chorus that resonated through the trees. "Run!" Chad shouted, panic surging in his voice as he bolted back toward them. They surged forward together, but the growls grew louder, closing in from every direction. The shadows morphed into dark figures, slipping silently through the trees. "Chad, what is happening?" Lisa cried, terror lacing her voice. "I don't know," he shouted, grabbing her hand and her mother's arm. "We can't stay here." Just as he bolted towards the cabin, a shadow emerged, barreling toward them from the thickets. It lunged, snatching at the air just a breath away from Lisa's face. "Go!" Chad yelled, adrenaline coursing through him as he shoved Lisa and her mother toward the cabin's door. They scrambled inside, slamming the door shut just as the figure collided with it, the force rattling the wooden frame. Lisa stumbled back, her heart racing as she reached for the nearest thing, a heavy iron candlestick. "What was that?" She managed to breathe out, her hands trembling. "Just hold on," Chad yelled, scanning the cabin, desperate for something secure, something that could shield them. Lisa peered through the dusty window. Shrouded figures circled outside, snarling like wolves, shadows dancing in the flickering light. Were they trapped here for good? "Look for something we can barricade with," Chad ordered, quickly moving to the front closet. Lisa felt the weight of dread sink deeper as she realized. Whatever hunted them had crossed the line from the woods to their refuge. "Will we survive this?" she whispered, but her mother turned away, unable to answer. Then, Chad paused, a glimmer of recognition flashing in his eyes. "This isn't just some random confrontation. They know us." "Who are they?" Lisa demanded, fear knotting in her gut. Chad's expression turned grave. "I don't know, but it's tied to what we've been running from. We need to uncover the truth." A terrifying realization dawned upon Lisa. What if their past was the very danger that had them cornered now? As the shadows outside pressed closer, the night thickened with peril. What did they know that could unravel everything? In that moment, the cabin felt less like a refuge and more like a tomb. The atmosphere grew heavier, laden with an impending reckoning. Outside, the howls intensified, becoming a chilling symphony to their fear. Lisa clutched the candlestick tighter, knuckles white as adrenaline surged, forcing her thoughts to race. Were they really out of danger yet? Chad struggled with the closet door, pulling out shelves stacked high with mismatched items. "We need to barricade the door," he urged, adrenaline crackling in his voice. "There's no telling what they're capable of." Lisa's heart was pounding. She rushed to help him, frantically dragging boxes and chairs to the entrance. Each sound outside sent jolts of fear coursing through her. "Chad, what do we do if they get in?" "Just keep your heads down, and whatever you do, don't let them separate us," he replied, urgency tinging his words. A loud crash echoed from outside. The figures lurked closer, silhouetted against the pale light flooding beneath the cabin's windows. Lisa's stomach churned. "Did they see us?" Her mother whispered, eyes widening with fear. "Not yet. At least I hope not," Chad answered, breathing heavily. The reality that they were hunted settled around them, thick as fog. A shadow darted by the window, making Lisa jump, heart racing in wild rhythm. "They're trying to find a way in." Chad moved in front of them, tension etched across his face. "We'll hold them off as long as we can. But doubt not it, Lisa. No amount of barricading would stop whatever was hunting them." They needed more answers. "What do they want?" she asked, fear quaking in her voice. "Janet," Chad said softly, and the name hung in the air like a desperate prayer. She was getting too close to uncovering something big. Maybe this whatever they are wants to silence anyone who knows about her past. The moment felt electric, a fierce connection drawing them to the core of their shared fears. Lisa took a deep breath. "What about that message I got?" "They're onto us, Chad. We can't keep hiding." Chad nodded slowly, considering her words. "If we can find proof of what Janet knew, we might just turn this around." Fingers trembling, Lisa's mind raced back to the journal, the secrets they hadn't fully uncovered. "Mom, we have to find Janet's journals. They might hold the key." "No," Chad exclaimed, eyes darting toward the door, urgency returning. "We have to focus on defending ourselves first." As if on cue, a deafening crash shook the door, rattling the windows. A shadow aligned with the doorway, looming large and terrifying. Lisa felt icy tendrils of dread spiral down her spine. They're coming. Just then, the door splintered, cracking under the weight of a powerful force behind it. Chad gripped the candlestick, taking a step forward, ready to defend. "Get back," he shouted, voice steady despite the shaking of his hands. In an instant, the door caved, breaking free under the force. Lisa's heart sank as the dark figures poured in. Faces began to emerge from the gloom. Hollowed eyes, pitiless expressions, all pointing to a history she never wanted to confront. "Chad!" she screamed, and as she turned, she caught a glimpse of a familiar figure in the crowd. Ben. The world fell silent as he stepped forward, his face a tapestry of secrets. "Hello, Lisa," he said softly, the malice cloaked beneath his calm demeanor, sending a shiver through her entirely. "Looks like you've stumbled into something bigger than you could have ever imagined." The realization sunk in. Ben knew everything. He had always been close, slithering in the shadows, now revealed as the conduit to every dark truth they'd been wishing to avoid. "Why are you here?" Chad's voice came out as a low growl, protective instincts rising to the surface. Ben chuckled darkly. "To finish what started with Janet, and to make sure none of you carry her truth any further." Chaos erupted as Chad lunged forward to confront Ben, the cabin erupting into a whirlwind of violence and clashing intentions. Lisa's resolve hardened. They could not let this end here. "Mom, we have to help him." But as they swung the door shut behind them, they could only take this fight forward. With purpose in her heart, Lisa stepped into the fray, determined to reclaim their narrative from the shadows. "You want to take us down without a fight." The confrontation spiraled, surprising both groups. It was more than just a brutal clash, it was a reckoning for everything Janet had held back. As fists flew and secrets were literally laid bare, Lisa found herself standing alongside Chad, united by the unveiling of their shared truths. "We know now," he shouted as he knocked Ben aside. "You can't silence us anymore." But then Lisa stole a glance back, realizing something deeper was unfolding. Janet's spirit that hung around them, whispering clarity through the chaos. Each blow they dealt was more than survival. It was a fight for truth and justice. In those moments of fury, they clung to their humanity, embracing the very essence that would light their path through the darkness. "Now, fight for her," Chad commanded, rallying around Lisa. Finally, the battle shifted. The shadow of danger began to recede as truths arose. Each punch landed was a step closer to justice, a visceral cry for resolution after too many secrets. And when dawn broke, a hush settled over the cabin, blanketing the chaos in a cocoon of silence. The air began to feel lighter, heavy with the weight of what had been exposed. Lisa breathed deeply, looking at Chad, her mother, and the remnants of the fight behind them. Everything had changed, shifting under the weight of truth. "We're free now," she whispered with a mix of sorrow and hope, the last shroud of darkness expelled from their lives. Yet, the road ahead remained uncertain. But as they stepped out of the cabin, heartbeats easing into rhythm, they knew they had claimed their own story. "Let us go home," Chad murmured, determination etched into every line of his face. As their silhouettes faded into the morning light, the sense of liberation thrummed like a heartbeat, urging them forward into the unknown. And just like that, they knew what stood before them was an invitation to a fresh start, a final farewell to the spiraling past, rising together on the wings of redemption. Now, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your engagement matters. Be part of the community that pushes for more incredible content.